Hello and welcome to episode 12 of my Planet Coaster tutorial Let's Play series. This episode will be on the terrain tool, which is down here. Oh my goodness, what has happened to my ground in my park? Well, we will go through the terrain tool and I will show you how I did this, how I turned the desert into grass, which is a lovely feature of the terrain tool. But anyway, let's have a look at it in depth. Okay, so we click on the terrain tool, that brings up this panel of options, and what I'm going to do is go through them and hopefully clearly show you what they all do. So starting off at the top here, sculpting. This is terraforming the land. All of these options. First we have pull. So if I do that, if you just hover over the ground, left click, it pulls up the terrain to make a mountain or a hill, depending on how mad you want to go with it. So that's what that does. If you press the control key and left click, it will inverse the mouse action. So instead of making a mountain, it will lower it. That's holding down the the control key while you left click. Okay, but that's pulling the land up. Next you have push. If you left click, you can push the land down. Again, if you press the control key, you can raise the land, so it reverses the action. Okay, so let's push that. Now if you make different holes, let's say you're making a theme, a ride, and you want it to be tiered at different levels, then what you can do is do 3 holes like so, each, or 4 holes, each getting a bit deeper, so stepping them like that. And what this next tool will do, flatten to foundation, will flatten the ground to the depth of the hole, as you can see. I do this one and do this one and this one. You see it's gone into a tiered system, but you're saying, wait a minute, that could be good and that could be cool, but how do we get paths down here? Well, let's move on. The next, I'm going to skip by flatten to surface for the moment. Let's jump to the chisel tool. What the chisel will do for you is answer that question of yours. So notice with the chisel tool, the circle goes at different angles as we move around. So to define what the chisel tool does, if I swing the camera around so we look at this edgeways, all it will do if I left click at an angle is it will enable us to make a slope where we can get a path down. You see, look at that one there, that was done nicely. If I click here, the longer you hold the mouse button, the bigger the slope. Now a little problem that you can get, of course, as you go along creating a slope, it can get very sharp, the edges. So that's not good, because you don't want sharp edges. Hence the next tool, smooth. What that will do is now smooth out your edge to make it usable for a path. You see that? You see what it's doing? It's smoothing it out. How cool is that? So you've made a slope, and yes, I've made that slope very severe, but you know, we still, I think, can put a path down on it. Let's check. No, so it's a bit steep for a path, but you can still twist down the path into it. Anyway, that's a bit steep. So what you'd perhaps want to do is switch back to your terrain tool and pull it up a bit. Here's a question for you. What has Astroneer and Planet Coaster got in common? Okay, I gave you time to think. They both have the coolest terraforming tools I've ever seen in any game. But anyway, right, back to this. So we was doing that slope. Let's see, did I bring it up enough to do a path? Let's have a quick look. Yeah, there you go. So now we can do a path down our hill. Like so. Okay, so that's how you make holes and get the path down there. Oh, let's just simply delete the path. Okay, going back to the terrain tools before I get carried away with that, which is quite easy. So that's these. Now we have the one that I haven't shown you, flatten to surface. So if I click on that, that will put your park back to normal after you've made a terrible mess of a load of holes like I've just done. So if I left click, what the trick is here, you make sure your circle perimeter is over the land at the height that you want. So see over here, this is all really flat at the level I want my park to be at. So I'll start there and then just move the mouse over. And you see, it brings it all up smoothly. How cool is that? Just like Astronair. Absolutely amazing. Okay, so that's to surface. That's the difference now you've seen between flatten to foundation and flatten to surface. Last of all, we have roughen. What that will do is roughen the land up. See, it puts all hills and dents and it makes a real old mess. But of course, in making your park unique, you will use all the tools at your disposal. So we can quickly though straighten that back out. How quick and simple is that? Okay, so that's all of these here. But you're saying, Gamester, what about these over here? Right, okay, to demonstrate them, let's do a push action. Remember, what the push does is it makes a hole. So let's undo that. Okay, the intensity. What that will do, if I make a hole and have it on the lowest setting, which is 10%, and click, it will ever so slowly make a hole. If I put the intensity to full, 100%, it drills a massive hole quickly. So you get the picture. Depending on where you set this is how quickly it will drill a hole. Okay, so there's plenty of room there for you to be able to make all sorts of extraordinary landscapes. Okay, right, and lastly, size. Of course, we'll do the size of the hole or mountain or whatever you're going to do. So let's demonstrate. If I put the size to the lowest, 1 meter, it's a tiny diddy little circle. If I whack the size up to full, it's now a massive circle. So you see, very simple. Okay, so that's them. Let's put them back. Right, okay, deformation respects scenery or not. Well, you don't want your scenery affected, so I've left that unchecked. If you did want it to adjust the scenery with your holes, then you would enable it. Scenery lock, deformation locks to the surface or not. So what that's saying is pretty much like when we drill a hole, it's keeping this surface around the edge of it. Well, I'm sure I haven't explained that bit very well, but never mind, we'll skip on. Right, now at the beginning of this episode, I showed you this grass area, didn't I, that I created. Let's swing the camera around. Okay, moving on. Next we've got the painting tool. What you can do with that is change your terrain type. So this is desert, so if I choose the grass tool, I can now spray paint all the grass, all the sand, and turn it into grass. You see? And what you can do, you've got different shades of what you can do. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Pretty darn amazing. And this is the colour of my sand, so if I want to put it all back to normal, oh look at that, is that magic? No, that's the Gamester getting down with Planet Coaster. So this bit of the park over here, which I messed up and went too far over, well, I did it on purpose actually to show you this, demonstrate. I can put it all back to normal. No fuss, no muss, as they say, or mess. And there we go. Look at that. All back to desert. Okay, so that's the paint tool. No, I've already explained what these do, so that's that. Let's move on then to some cool stuff with water. Now for this, what I'm going to do is quickly put the terrain back to normal. By zooming out. And then quickly move across here, putting it all back to how I want it. There, nice and quick. Right, let's zoom in. Let's put the size back down. Put it to 50. How big's that? Yeah, that should be okay. Okay, now what I'm going to do is drill 4 holes to demonstrate. Let's do 4 big holes. I said I wanted to... Well, anyway, I won't go there. Let's do this. Right, so hole number 1. Let's make it nice and quick to do these. Hole number 1. Oh. Hole number 2. Hole number 3. And hole number 4. Let's now show you why I've done 4 holes. It's not because I'm deranged, it's because I actually want to demonstrate something. Okay, let's go to water. There are 4 different types of water that you can place. Calm water, rough water, standing water and dirty water. Well, that's nice that we know their names, but let's see what the difference is. So we're going to click on calm water. So now you're going to have some extraordinary fun making custom water rides in your park, because now you effectively have the best tools you've ever had to do so. Now the way this works with water is you can first of all set the depth at what you want this hole to be filled with water. So let's say you just want a shallow pool at the bottom of it because you want somewhere to go and dip your toes. Okay, so we notice that there's a blue bar there. Let's zoom in so you can see it a bit clearer. You see that blue bar? Okay, so we'll go down to the deepest depth, which is here, which was the shallowest. If I left click, it puts in a little bit of water. If I move the cursor up, let's get in close, you see there's the next level of water I can fill it to. So if I go to there and left click, it now puts in that much water. But that's not enough. We want more water than that because we want somewhere to go for our guests to go skinny dipping. So let's move up to the next level, which let's say is there. Left click. Oh, there we go. It's starting to fill up. So you get the picture. The higher you move up with that blue bar, the more water you'll fill. If you want to get to the surface, you move it to there, left click, bang. There we go. We have a pool of calm water. Okay, moving on. Next, we have rough water. There we go. There's rough water. Don't worry, I'm going to unpause it in a second. Next, we have standing water. And lastly, we have dirty water. I know what you're saying. Why, for goodness sake, have you got dirty water? It's all about customization. It might be you want to do an atomic park where there's exploded nuclear bombs full of nuclear waste, and so you don't want clear blue water, you'll want dirty water. Well, there you go, that's my explanation. Okay, so let's now take a look at these 4 waters and unpause it so you can see the difference. This one, the first water, calm water, as you'd expect, it's just like the Gamester, nice and calm, doesn't start shouting or screaming, it remains peaceful. Next, we have the rough water. As you can see, there's waves rippling across the surface, so gives you that different effect, and it does it extremely well. Next, we have standing water. As you can see, it doesn't have waves, but it is all sort of bubbling. Well, it's not bubbling, but you can see what I'm getting at here. It's very Oh, there's the timer that I started, so I will continue. Okay, so you can see it's got a lot of activity in its form there. Okay, it looks like it's active. And then lastly, of course, we've got the dirty water, which, you know, unless you can't really, you can see that's a bit bluer than this water, but that's it. Okay, that's the dirty water. Right, so now you're probably wondering, well, how do I build myself a glorious ride? So let's give you a little tip. Okay, whether you want to call it a pro, no, we won't call it a pro tip because it's just simply a tip. Let's say you want to build a water ride. The last thing you want to do is make your holes, fill them up with water, and then think, no, I want to put another hole there, because then what I'll do is I'll mix my standing water with my dirty water. Well, let's show you why you won't do that. Because if you click on here and on the sculpting, and if you go to push to make a hole, as soon as you do the hole, watch what happens. Bang, you lose all your water. So the moral of this little story is make sure you do cut out the whole foundation of your massive lake. So you can either do a massive lake like so, or you can do a nice river. Let's go in a bit closer so you can see this. So you can do a nice river. Now notice, because I didn't have another joining hole to a different type of water, it's auto filling with water as I go. But if I try and join it to this water, there you go, you see. So don't try joining different water types, because you'll lose all your water. And that's how you can make rivers as well. Okay, the timer's gone, I've covered everything. That's about it. Wherever you are in the world, God bless you and keep every last one of you safe. Thank you for watching and have a fantastic day. Goodbye.